to draft a Best Ball Mania 4. Unfortunately, Brian wasn't able to join me. Our streaming software, for some reason, doesn't work the same way every time, but it's all right. I'll be here to talk about some preseason stuff. I'll get Brian on a show later this week. We have 24 days left to draft until the beginning of the NFL season on September 5th. We got some good information from preseason week 1. Before we get into that, let's take a look at the ADP movers for the past week. It's going to be a lot of the same guys that we've had. The guys moving up, no surprises at the top of the list. Justin Fields up 21 spots. Sure hope you got a bag when he was 200 plus. Jalen Tobert moving up makes sense. Seems pretty locked in as a wide receiver 3 for Dallas. It's probably worth taking some shots there, especially I'll get into him versus Brandon Cooks when we get into the draft. Jordan Mason moving up ahead of Elijah Mitchell, it looks like, in the rotation. So we'll see how that holds up over the next few weeks. I'm not really going to do too much here. I think I've taken him once or twice, but I'm going to hold off on taking him a lot until we get more information here. And then a lot of the usual names here. Trying to see who's new that wasn't. I mean, Tyrone Tracy, I'm not sure why he's up, because wasn't it Eric Gray that had the 64 yards in the preseason game? Andre Yoshevas makes sense. Jalen McMillan. Yeah, and Rashee Rice is up to 53. I still think he's a really good value. I'd expect this to go up even more with the injury to Marquise Brown. I'm pretty sure it sounds like Marquise Brown's going to be back week 1, week 2, maybe full strength by, I have no idea, a couple weeks later. But either way, Rashee Rice, I thought he was already a value, and now I'm probably going to take him up until he gets into the 3rd round. Let's see who's falling. Drew Sample fell out of ADP. Unfortunate. Yeah, Kendre Miller is going undrafted in a lot of drafts I'm doing. I think he's fine to be drafted. Like, I'll take Kendre over Kamani if I'm desperate for a running back. With Kamani Vidal, it looks like he might not even make the roster. So I don't think that you should take him anymore, even in the last round, until we get any more clarity on that. Could just be a 0. It's something we were worried about. Jermaine Burton looked awesome in the preseason game, so of course he's going to generate some hype. We've been drafting him. He's up about a round in the past week. Then the usual guys like Josh Downs. It's unfortunate, the injury. I'm not sure when I'm going to start taking him again, but I already have so much. I'm probably going to wait another round or 2 for him to fall. Quentin Johnston doesn't look great from the preseason stuff. Ben Sinnott looked awesome. So he's down 7 spots in the last week. I'm going to expect this to rebound over the next, or in the past week, he's down 7 spots. I'm going to expect this to rebound over the next week. He looked good in the preseason game, so he's a guy that we're going to keep an eye on. I have been taking a lot of Zach Ertz as like a ceiling play in round 18 at tight end, but I might take more Ben Sinnott. I was taking him a lot at the beginning, but if you want to draft, anyone's in here, let's go ahead and jump into a Best Ball Mania. So they filled a few contests in the past week. Eliminator filled, weekly winners filled. And so weekly winners filled way quicker than I thought. It was like 75% full last Saturday, and then it filled, like 2 days ago. And if you didn't know, on Underdog, there's a certain amount of drafts that are reserved for slows and a certain amount reserved for fasts. And so typically the fast drafts run out first. And so weekly winners got to like 95%, and it was all slows. And I had like 30 left. So I was already in way too many slow drafts, but now I'm just completely in slow draft hell. And the Pomeranian Superflex filled too quick for me to draft it. So put myself in, like, this is like half of my slow drafts. I have a bunch more on the other sites, but so with 5% left in weekly winners, there were only slows. And it was actually the opposite for the Pomeranian, but Superflex. When this filled, it got to like, it was probably at like 99%, but all that was left was fast drafts, and I still had a few to go. I think I only got 35 in here, but I wasn't about to draft 15 on my phone, just even though it's pretty cheap and it's probably still okay. Didn't feel like dealing with it. But in terms of other contests, we do still have the sprint open. The $50 is a little bit, puts too much pressure on my bankroll, so I'm probably not going to enter any in these. I imagine people are going to take advantage of the overlay. So it's going to get, somewhere around here. It's not going to overlay 50% or anything. Kind of the same with the marathon. This is a format that I will be exploring more. I hope we can get a stream or 2 about this one this week, because I think we need to take advantage of this overlay, because I've explained it before, but like in BBM, if there's an overlay, the way that they handle that is 2 out of 12 advance out of the first round, but then they'll advance, say there's a 1,000-person overlay, however many 12-person drafts that is. 2 out of 12 out of that 1,000 will wait. Hold on. What's the math? Either way, it's wildcard spots. The highest scoring teams that didn't advance will go to round 2. But then by the time you get to round 2, you get no advantage from that. Like you might get a couple more advancing entries, but then by the time you get to the finals, that advantage is kind of just gone, right? You're still competing in a 539 person final. But if you look at the marathon, like 150,000 person final, because it's cumulative scoring, if it overlays by even 10%, that's 15,000 less people you have to compete against, and your min cash rate goes way up. And that's one thing I like about this contest is a min cash is 30. And so the other contests, we're taking Hail Mary shots trying to win that big money. And here, 300K is a lot of money. But I think min cashing and like getting back a large portion of our ROI from that is pretty important. So we pulled the 5th pick. I think I've been usually taking Justin Jefferson. I have 11% versus 7% Amon-Ra. So we'll go with Amon-Ra here. Sorry, I meant to turn off. I wonder if I can just turn off some of these percentages. These are like all the things that I look at while I'm drafting, and it just makes it so complicated now. Like my overall percentage that I have, and then these are like how much I have with my first running back, second running back, third running back, how much I have with my QB1, and how much I have with my top 3 picks. And it's a lot of stuff to look at while we're on stream, so I'm just going to turn that stuff off. Like I said, I'm going to start getting into some preseason stuff once we hit the relevant players. I'm going to try to go around their ADP, but if you guys want to talk about anything or ask about anything, fire away. All right, I think that's good. So I don't think there was really anything from the first round that changed at all from preseason, like Puka Nakua. I'm surprised he hasn't fallen a little bit more. He falls harder on the other sites, but Underdog is sharper, so it makes sense he hasn't fallen as much. I picked him at like 15 a couple times earlier in some slow drafts. But let me refresh one more time. Yeah, all these guys. Like Debo, I feel like Debo's a really good pick. I'm taking him over these two guys, usually Debo or Nico Collins if I want a receiver here. Trying to get my spike week stuff to load. Pretty normal draft so far. Puka went 11 here. No surprise. Harrison, Drake London, double tap. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is still pretty good around this range. More excited about him than I am about these two guys, to be honest. Over a full season anyway. Like the whole point of drafting Marvin Harrison to me is that he could go off in like the playoff weeks. I don't really expect him to outscore guys like Debo, Nico over the full season. But the spike week potential in the playoff rounds is pretty powerful, and he could do it during the regular season. I'm not saying he can't. I don't think we've ever drafted a rookie receiver this high before. Double tap the running backs. This is something I've explored a little bit more. It gets really tough. You have to have specific receivers in mind, I think, and a couple choices just in case they get sniped a little bit early. But I think this can work this year. Like it didn't work last year because everyone got hurt. But I mean, I don't think I have in Best Ball Mania. I probably don't have any running back starts, but in the other contests, I definitely do, especially in weekly winners. I went running back a lot, just assuming the field isn't. We're going to take Nico Collins here, my favorite pick. So the information I have on the screen now, this percentage is how much I have them overall in all my Underdog drafts. I think I'm on almost 200. This includes BBM, puppies, Pomeranians, whatever. Week 15, week 16, week 17 correlation. If it's highlighted in green, they have a correlation with a player on my team, and then gold has a correlation with my quarterback when I draft one. And this number is the number of game stacks throughout the season. Just another little tiebreaker in case I'm between two guys and maybe one has 6 game stacks versus 3. I'll just go with the guy with 6 if there's no other playoff correlation to consider. Malik Neighbors sprained his ankle in practice. What I'm hoping is this lowers his ADP, that he falls a little bit, because he's a player I recently got turned on to. Just seeing a few of the snaps he played in preseason and hearing reports out of camp, he sounds like he's going to get a lot of targets. And so, I'm not going to take him over Garrett Wilson at ADP, but I'm more excited about taking Malik Neighbors at ADP than I am about Garrett Wilson. I've been fading him pretty hard the last couple of weeks. As you can see, I'm pretty underweight on Malik Neighbors. I mean, I'm underweight on Derrick Henry here too, but everyone else I'm over the field on, so shouldn't be too hard to even that out. Still feel great about Kyron and Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp, he's moving up, but I think his ADP is still fine. I'm going to take him at 25 basically every time if he's there. Like, I feel like people are getting bored with Mike Evans, but he seemed like such a solid pick in this range. DJ Moore is the guy that I'm very comfortable reaching for at 15%. Remember, the average is around 8. So like 8-9% average. Average on Stephon Diggs. I expect this to fall, though. I'm pretty sure I'm going to start doing something ridiculous with Rashee Rice because I'm going to start taking him in this range. I hadn't before. Haven't really been taking him before the 4th round, but now I think Rashee Rice is just the best pick in all of best ball at ADP. Yeah, we're going to take Malik Neighbors here. Pretty excited about this. I could go for the correlation with DJ Moore or Derrick Henry, especially DJ Moore. I have 3 game stacks, which means he plays one of these guys twice. But I've already mentioned I want Malik Neighbors at an ADP discount, and so I'm going to go ahead and take him. But if I didn't already want Malik Neighbors, I would have just went for DJ Moore here. I mean, game stacks with all my guys. We get 1 week of playoff correlation in week 16, which is very important for BBM. So it wouldn't surprise me if I already had that combo, though. Amon-Ra, Nico, DJ Moore. And that's not to say, I mean, it's still good to get that combo in multiple drafts because then even if you advance them both, you get mixed up in a couple of pods. Maybe one pod's super strong, one pod's super weak. And so at least you still get that combo through to week 16. And yeah, I guess a lot of the preseason stuff isn't going to be relevant till later in the draft, but if there's anything on your guys' minds while you're here, please go ahead and throw it in. I've been seeing Tank Dell go before Stephon Diggs a little bit more, and I had been doing it probably like half the time, but I don't mind it. A little worried about Stephon Diggs. Could crash and burn. Could end up being one of the best values in the draft, though, going here. I mean, he was a first-round pick with Josh Allen last year, but now he's not. And this is part of my argument for Rashee Rice, too. We have 3 Houston receivers going before the first KC receiver. I don't think Rashee Rice is getting suspended this season at this point. We haven't heard any news. His hearing is in December. If he gets suspended, if he gets suspended for the playoff weeks, that's an absolute disaster. Seems like that's more likely to happen with Jordan Addison, though, he's someone that I've been kind of avoiding in regular best ball formats. In like the marathon, I'll definitely take Addison at a discount because he can absolutely contribute to the score if he misses 4 weeks. And it doesn't kill us if he's out for the playoff weeks. But like Rashee Rice, how are 3 Houston guys going before Rashee Rice? It just blows my mind. I might take him at 44 here if he's there. I'm sure he will be. And it's like, in my slow drafts, I'm not really doing this. I'm not going to do that many more best ball manias, though. And I think if I draft him at 44, it's 7 spots ahead of ADP. I feel like I could still get, oh man. Yeah, this guy took him at 40. Okay. So like if you're drafting him in this range at the end of the 4th round, I feel like you're still going to get ADP value on Rashee Rice. I mean, I was going over some of my old Rashee teams and we were getting him like at the end of the 6th round. And so we're giving up a little bit, but I don't think we're doing that much trading a 6th round pick. Or I guess it's kind of like you're trading a 4th round pick for a 6th round pick. If you play those teams in the playoffs, it's not going to matter until you get to the finals. And even then, it's not that big of a deal because he's still, like, I'd be surprised if he didn't exceed this ADP. You got Jalen Hurts with A.J. Brown. Makes sense. Josh Allen. Taking a lot of Josh Allen in this range. Of course, he's always unstacked. Not really taking Dalton Kincaid here. Been shooting for Khalil Shakur late, but Josh Allen's one of the guys I'm very comfortable taking naked. So taking him a lot when he falls into this range. So no Rashee Rice for us today. We could get a pretty big discount on Sam Laporta. I have Amon-Ra already, though. I don't love double tapping 2 guys like that in the early rounds. It's just they could both go off in week 17, but especially in Best Ball Mania. Like if this was Marathon, I'd click on Sam Laporta this far past ADP all day. But here, I'm not going to do it. I guess I don't have a lot of Travis Kelce. 6%. It's actually more than I thought. Go ahead and take Travis Kelce here, though. A few picks past ADP. I have seen Patrick Mahomes like fall back here, especially they can't double tap Mahomes and Rashee Rice, and I don't think Marquise Brown should go in this range anymore either. So that's something I've been doing a lot, taking Patrick Mahomes end of the fourth, getting Rashee Rice beginning of the fifth. If Rashee Rice gets taken, I just take Marquise Brown. It's not a big deal. And then if I miss out on both of those guys, sometimes I can get Xavier Worthy here, but usually if those two guys go first, then Xavier Worthy gets drafted before it comes back to me. But you can still save it if you draft Mahomes. It feels a lot worse to draft him naked compared to drafting Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, or Lamar naked. At least these guys have guys we can get later in the draft. Where Patrick Mahomes, if you miss out on Xavier Worthy, you're kind of you're really guessing on who can actually contribute points that are going to be relevant later. So I have a bunch of Patrick Mahomes teams that are naked that don't feel great. And yeah, I mean, Sam Laporta at 48, dude, this is a smash pick. I mean, CD, Devonta, Cooper Kupp, Sam Laporta. Like, there's going to be plenty of teams that have CD and Sam Laporta, Devontae, Sam Laporta, Cooper Kupp, Sam Laporta, maybe even two of these guys in Sam Laporta. But this could be a fully unique first 4 rounds. Might not be another player in the whole tournament that has these exact 4 players. I guess it's possible if, CD Lamb goes at 2 like he usually does and Sam Laporta goes here. But this is a pretty unique combo. I would not have double tapped tight end. Like, getting this massive value on Sam Laporta is such a win in a tournament like BBM. Yeah, this is something I'm never doing. Double elite tight end, double elite quarterback. I just don't think it makes sense. And Hollywood Brown went at 50. I think it's still fine to pair him with Mahomes. I mean, he could be ready by week 1. We got week 15 and week 17 correlation with Lamar, with 2 guys who we absolutely want on the other side of the field if Lamar goes off in those weeks. I'm underweight. It's a guy who I've been trying to get more of. So yeah, this is a smash pick. Like, Kelsey feels like the only decision I've had to make so far. I guess coin flip between JJ and Amon-Ra, but pretty easy draft so far. Let's see. If you don't follow Underdog Drafts on Twitter, they post anytime a new contest comes up. And first of all, a new contest dropped yesterday. It was a 20 max $5. Pretty good structure, and I missed it completely. This is the first day I've been home in over a week, so missing a lot of stuff. That's why I had to go into slow draft hell. But yeah, they're dropping contests and they're just filling instantly. So I hope they do a bunch of those, because I think those are the contests I'd like to focus on while I wrap up my drafting season. I still have a lot of the big entries to fire, particularly on the other sites, and probably 100 more marathons. But really hope they keep throwing out those small buy-in, lower max entry contests, because I think those are just, it's our best chance of taking down a contest, right? So I'm going to leave the draft board up, but I'm just going to read off basically in order from the Underdog Drafts article. If you go to their Twitter, they just tweeted out. It's on the underdognetwork.com. Sam Darnold, JJ McCarthy. I've been drafting a ton of JJ McCarthy, have more of him than every other rookie quarterback combined. He looks great. I feel pretty good about it. Not going to take a ton of, I'm taking him on just every Justin Jefferson team if I can, just tacking him on at the end, but he's not a guy I'm targeting, more of just a desperation guy if all the other starters are gone. Sam Darnold could start, and he did play with the starters, but we'll see. I'd expect JJ McCarthy to be the starter in week 17 unless Sam Darnold finally shows up to the NFL. Brian Thomas Jr. Looked awesome. Now, it was kind of significant. There were 2 snaps where Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis were in for 2 wide receiver set. Christian Kirk was not in. Something like this happened last preseason and maybe even week 1 of the regular season with the Jaguars. So I wouldn't read too much into this. The thing I would take away is that the coaching staff likes Brian Thomas. And if you've been keeping up with NFL news the past couple of weeks, coaches liking the players is a really big deal. It's really important that the coach likes you. And so it appears they like Brian Thomas. I don't expect that to hold with it being Christian Kirk, the odd man out, but we'll see. And either way, Gabe Davis is probably my highest exposed wide receiver overall. So I'm super excited about that. And I don't know if Gabe Davis's ADP is going to come up from this. I'd expect Brian Thomas's too. I already thought he was fine at ADP. Chris loves him. And so luckily, if Chris hadn't got me on him, I probably wouldn't have been taking him at all, but pretty happy I have a little bit, and I'm going to continue to add to him. Sorry, I'm still a little jumpy. There was a big earthquake in LA right before I started my stream. So I'm I don't know how to describe it. Still feel a little light from it. I don't mind taking CJ Stroud now that he's in the 70s, especially if I have Nico or Tank. Don't need him because I have Lamar, obviously, but I'm just going to get another receiver here. Don't mind taking Rashad White. I was kind of off him before, but I'm mixing him in now. Yeah, I feel pretty good about this wide receiver room considering I already took a quarterback and a tight end. So we're going 0 RB. I already know who I'm taking if it comes back to me. So let's just hope. So earlier I said I wanted to try to talk about these guys in ADP order, but this article is absolutely not in ADP order. So I'm just going to go down the list. Marshawn Lloyd left the game with a hamstring injury. I don't know if you've seen AJ Dillon takes on your timeline lately, but it's gross because AJ Dillon is not a player that we should be excited to draft, but a player that we might need to now if we're weak at the running back room or we need one more running back at the end of drafts. 4 carries for 2 yards. It's half a yard a carry. It's a small sample size, but it's about what I expect, right? Yep. Looks like the favorite to be the backup, which is unfortunate because I've been drafting a ton of Marshawn Lloyd. I imagine a bunch of the watchers have been too, because I mean his ADP was going up, but if he's hurt, it's kind of pain. It could still be something like I mentioned this about Rashad Penny. That season that he won Liam Murphy the Best Ball Mania, was it 3 years ago? He was not like he was like the third or fourth string running back in training camp. People were drafting him because we thought he was going to be that guy, but then it turned out he wasn't, and his ADP tanked. He was going undrafted, which I think is the correct reaction to that. But he still ended up working out and going off in week 17 due to injuries and opportunities opening in front of him. Now, we're not going to keep drafting Marshawn Lloyd hoping for that. I'm done drafting him. I already have a bunch. I'm just going to try to get my percentage down. And if it turns out that he gets the work, especially in the playoff weeks, then that's all that matters. Cole Kmet splitting snaps with Gerald Everett. Looks like Gerald Everett's actually the starter here, which people speculated on because of his relationship with it's either the OC or the coach. I can't remember. But it's unfortunate because I really thought Cole Kmet was a good pick, but he could still be that guy. Gerald Everett could get hurt, and I thought Cole Kmet was such a value. I mean, I only had 10%, but he was pretty good value at ADP 140. If he's going to split work with Gerald Everett, I don't think I'm going to be drafting him until like the end of the tight end. Like I'll be drafting him in like maybe like this range, I guess. And I'm still going to take shots on him because I think he has 2 touchdown upside per game, but in a single game, not every single game. And then I don't have they don't have the snap share numbers on this article, but Keenan Allen, I believe, played the highest percentage of snaps, closely followed by DJ Moore, and then Roma Dunze was around 50%. This is with Caleb Williams. And so, yeah, Keenan Allen's already been a pretty big value. Let's see where he went here. Really easy guy to take. Like I'm almost double the field at 14%. He has amazing playoff correlations. This is going to continue to be a value for me. I don't understand why he's not moving up. Maybe he will now with preseason, especially Caleb Williams looked good. I kind of question his ceiling, but I mean, if he can pass the football, then Keenan Allen's going to crush. Justin Fields, my guy. I'm just waiting for the day for them to announce he is the starting quarterback for the Steelers. I only have 9% in regular underdog format, which is fine. Pretty good playoff correlations here, though. I don't know that this is a type of team I'd take him on, though, because I already have Lamar. I'd like to just take one more quarterback like Baker Mayfield or something that's going to give me points in Lamar's bye week. I don't really care about hitting the ceiling in other weeks. Maybe if he falls a little bit, but I'll see how the rest of this roster turns out. I am very okay taking Raheem Mostert. Jonathan Brooks, he falls in some drafts. If you can get in rooms where maybe there's less badges or something, less experienced draft, more casual drafters, I should say, don't want to draft Jonathan Brooks because he's hurt. But what if Jonathan Brooks is rookie year Breece Hall? And so I do like taking him after ADP. And it's like I took the oldest running back in the NFL over the youngest running back in the NFL, probably. But that's what I did here. I still have 8% Jonathan Brooks. I think he's a fine pick. If I had a stronger running back room, I'd probably be more comfortable with it. But here, I kind of need points from week 1. So, and James Conner, He can only score like 20 points himself, so I need someone else to step up. Quentin Johnson played behind DJ Shark, Simi Fehoko, and Brendan Rice. It's Jover. Yep, Quentin Johnson probably have like 1%, but it's not going up. Players whose stocks are kind of going up. Malik Neighbors played in 2 wide receiver sets, obviously. He moved into the slot on a 3rd and 9 play, and he looked fast. That's what it says right here. Wandale and Darius Slayton did not play, but I don't think either of them are taking Malik Neighbors snaps away. Maybe Jalen Hyatt, we don't know what to do with yet since those two are out. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. So talking about Marshawn Lloyd, Josh Jacobs is still going around pick 50. I had not really been drafting him before, which maybe been an oversight by me, but I'm pretty happy to click on him now. I still expect it to be a committee, but I'm not as worried about AJ Dillon taking that many snaps away from Josh Jacobs as I was about Marshawn Lloyd. And with Marshawn Lloyd, that was kind of a hope play just based on past rotations with this coaching staff and stuff like that. But yeah, Josh Jacobs, they had a 3-play scoring drive. He played 3 plays. There you go. CJ Stroud, love taking CJ Stroud now that he's fallen in ADP, like I said a few minutes ago. He fell to 88, dude. Yeah, we're taking CJ Stroud at 88. This guy could pass for 5,000 yards and 45 touchdowns. What's the record? Like 56? 40 touchdowns? If I didn't have a quarterback, I'd absolutely be taking Jordan Love right now, but don't need that. Kind of just want to shore up my running back room. I'm taking Moss, Pollard, and Brian Robinson. Still waiting for Moss to drop like another round because Chase Brown's up. Chase Brown's already off the board. But especially Tony Pollard looked great in the preseason game. Him and Taze being this close in ADP doesn't really make sense to me. Tacking on Taze, I mean, I have 6%, but if you saw I had like 18% or 16% Tony Pollard, so definitely have a preference there. You finally got your first Rashee Rice share today. Oh boy, I think that's Moose, right? Well, at least you got it's one more than you had yesterday, and then hopefully by next week that's already shown some ADP value. I just feel like he's Amon-Ra. Where was Amon-Ra getting drafted last year? He was going around here. So 2 years ago, Amon-Ra, when he was going at like pick 50 after going off at the end of his rookie season. How does Rashee Rice not follow the exact same path? He's got Patrick Mahomes. Marquise Brown got hurt in the first preseason game. I hope it's not too serious. Andy Reid was talking about it's similar to the injury that Tyreek Hill had, which the injury name sounds terrible. And the report said he was hospitalized. I think it's made it sound more serious than it is. But like I said, I think Marquise Brown is going to be fine a few weeks into the season. 24% Rice. Dude, it's beautiful. Like, that sounds so good. Congrats on that. But also 23% Marshawn Lloyd. Yeah, drafting early comes with a price. I would gladly trade 24% Rice for having 23% Marshawn Lloyd, though. Like, if that's what it took for me to get that Rice ownership, I'm all for it because I'm probably pretty similar. Let's see if I can pull it up. I only have 179 in regular, but as you can see, I have a bunch here. Let's see. Rice 20%. I'm higher on the other sites. I wish I was higher on Underdog, but it's okay. Marshawn Lloyd 17%. Like, it doesn't feel great, man. Flattened out my exposures probably more than I wanted to, though. So now I got to work on getting the guys that I actually want above 20% back above 20%. Curious, are you guys taking Xavier Worthy? I started tacking him on because I have a bunch of Marquise Brown and a bunch of Rashee Rice. But the thing with Worthy, I don't know how Andy Reid is going to, ramp up his work because I don't think it's typical for rookies to get that much work right away in an Andy Reid offense. Could be mistaken, but I mean, even if it takes a few weeks, if he becomes Rashee Rice 2.0 by the end of the season or Tyreek Hill by the end of the season, then I don't think anyone's upset about that. A guy I've been targeting, Khalil Shakur. I don't know. Twitter convinced me he's a wide receiver 1 in Buffalo. Do have a piece of playoff correlation, 8 games. Yep, smash pick. 7 past ADP. Oh, nice. Next blurb on the Underdog article is about Keon Coleman. He started with Shaquille Shakur when the Bills started the game in a two wide receiver set. It's not common for rookies in preseason week one. Keon Coleman stayed in for three wide receiver sets when MVS and Curtis Samuel mixed in. He's the only he's the only player to run a route on all five Bills dropbacks from the first team offense. So that's pretty interesting. Keon Coleman 5, Shakir 3, Samuel 3, MVS 2. So looks like, dude, I haven't thought about MVS since that day that he got signed. And I think Chris and I drafted him on a team on stream. But I mean, I still don't know if we're taking 18th round shots on MVS, maybe 20th round shots on the other site. It still seems too thin. I still think there's a lot of other guys in 18th round I'd take over MVS. I've been fading Keon Coleman though. I don't know if this means they want to get a better look at him or if I don't know. Is this good or bad for Keon Coleman? Because we know Samuel's in, pretty much know Shakir's in. Playing time leans towards Coleman and Shakir right now, though it's worth noting that the Bills manufactured a few plays directly to Samuel. Yeah, I mean, that's expected. They're going to run some weird stuff. Like, I mean, Curtis Samuel, Debo Jr., is that extreme? His ADP is getting a little bit too extreme for me, though. He's going in the 80s, 87. I don't know. Like, if he falls closer to pick 100, I'll probably snag him up, but I'm very comfortable just taking Khalil Shakur 30 picks later. Blake Corum's a guy I've been thinking about. Brock Purdy past ADP is not bad. If I had a piece of correlation, I'd snag him. What pick am I? So I'm not up for 16 more picks. Excuse me. Not really excited about any of these running backs here. A little bit more. I know I only have 2%, but a little bit more interested in Blake Corum than I was before. It's just, I feel like most of his value is just that upside if Kyren goes down. I don't know what standalone value he's going to have because even if he's playing snaps every game, I think Kyren's the workhorse. Like, what has to happen for Blake Corum to put up 2 touchdowns in a game where Kyren is healthy? I don't know. So I'm okay taking him though, especially if he falls past ADP, and especially when I have a week 17 correlation. Maybe not with James Conner, but if I had like Marvin Harrison or Trey McBride, I'd like that a little bit more. They almost always do a hospital run for clavicle and shoulder injuries. A broken collarbone can puncture the lungs and even some cases the heart. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I didn't take it as like, oh man, this is a super serious, like, if he gets checked on, should be okay, you know. But I was thinking maybe blood clots or something with the shoulder. But either way, I hope he's back for the beginning of this season because that would be great. Rachaad White didn't play in preseason week one, but the Buccaneers debuted first round center Graham Barton, and he was excellent. So truly excellent. Held up in pass protection, flew around the field as a run blocker. Oh, we love this. This is great for the Bucs run game. I've been taking a bunch of Bucky Irving. Like I said, I started taking some Rachaad White. Can't be bad for Baker and the rest of the receivers. So this is definitely a plus for the Buccaneers. Caleb Williams looked great. Yeah, I don't think we need to say much more about that. Brock Bowers lined up at tight end, slot, outside, and in the backfield. Played 2 tight end sets with Michael Mayer, playing more traditional tight end. So Bowers is a guy that I've been more interested in lately. Still haven't been taking him that much, but he's worth some shots. It's just, I wish he was going around the range that Sam Laporta was last year, which, if I'm not mistaken, was right around here. I'd feel a little bit better. And then in the 18th round, if all the other tight ends are gone, I don't mind taking Michael Mayer. I think I've done it a couple of times. And he has pretty good contingent value if something happens to Brock Bowers. So sounds like Brock Bowers could be the number 2 option in Vegas, though. That would be bad for my Jacoby Myers bags, but be good for Brock Bowers, I guess. Who's going to be the starting quarterback? I think they said they're going to announce it after week 2. So at the beginning of the summer on stream, you might have seen us draft some, or seen me draft some Gardner Minshew, but I think, Chris, at least anyway, has converted over to an AOC truther. He's taking AOC anyway. Aiden O'Connell. This is an awkward part of the draft when not a single wide receiver showing up. So I'm basically skipping these receivers in this range, 1%, 1%, usually taking a tight end or my second quarterback here. I already have my second quarterback, so we're done there. Don't need a second tight end because I have Kelsey. Tyler Algier feels like one of the better running back values. J.K. Dobbins, only at 5% here. I have more on the other stuff, but this is a guy I'd like to. I mean, I wish I would have taken a little bit more when he was closer to ADP 170. But if he's a starter in Los Angeles, I mean, it's just going to be awesome. Like we said, Kamani Vidal is probably not even going to make the team. Isaiah Spiller, who knows if he's good at football, but it's between him and Gus Edwards. I've been taking both of them. Javonte Williams was a clear-cut starter. So this is one point that me and Chris have been talking about a lot on stream because he's been pretty high on Estime. I was high on Jaleel McLaughlin. I still like Jaleel McLaughlin, but I already have enough that I'm comfortable with for the rest of draft season. So I've been taking a lot of Estime at the end. I mean, I want to say all 4 Broncos running backs that played did well. Maybe not Perrine. 3 of them did well. Estime, McLaughlin. I can't remember the other guy's name in preseason, but either way, be on someone from this Broncos running back room. And I'm clicking Javonte a little bit more than I was before. Romeo Dubes, the only Packers wide receiver to be on the field for all 3 snaps with the first team offense. So sample size of 3. But we already heard these kind of reports out of practice. And so, seeing it play out, and even though if it's a preseason game, I think that's still pretty good for Dubes. And he's been a guy that I've been targeting in that range, him and Shakir. Not taking as much Tyler Lockett because of it, but I'm okay with it. Might just go for J.K. Dobbins here. Let's see. I mean, I have 6 games of correlation. Chuba Hubbard has that playoff correlation, but I don't know if, it's unlikely Chuba Hubbard's the starter in the playoff weeks unless something happens to Jonathan Brooks. So I don't think we draft him for that reason. Like Pearsall has this correlation, but ADP 150, what are we doing? Could take Luke McCaffrey like 50 picks later and get the probably better player and a better situation for fantasy. Speaking of Luke McCaffrey, Jahan Dotson, I'm pretty sure I have, this might be a guy I have actually 0% through 1,100 drafts on all the sites. I don't think I've clicked on his name a single time. But if he's moving to slot and he played in 2 wide receiver sets, De'Ami Brown was the unexpected starter. I don't think it's time to talk about De'Ami Brown yet. But Jaden Daniels looked good, finished off a drive with a zone read keeper for a score. Dotson didn't get pulled with the other starters afterward. He played into halftime with the second string offense. Terry McLaurin and De'Ami Brown were both pulled. And Dotson played the outside receiver in those sets. So maybe they're just seeing, it feels like they just wanted to get a look at him playing in that position. So I don't know. Maybe Chris or Brian can talk me into Jahan Dotson later this week, but I'm not doing it. Kobe Parkinson rested with the rest of the Rams starters, which indicates Kobe Parkinson is the clear-cut starter for this team until Higbee comes back anyway. I think I've taken him a couple times. I might start tacking him on more now into 3 tight end and 4 tight end builds. Yeah, I think Kobe Parkinson seems like a pretty good bet. It's just a matter of if he's good enough to take away Higbee. When Higbee comes back, it's it doesn't matter. He's Trey McBride. We're not going to play Trey McBride over Zach Ertz, right? Yep, already mentioned Ben Sinnott. His ADP is going to climb over the next couple of weeks. I think he's probably a pretty decent tight end dart, but I wouldn't feel comfortable if he was my second tight end or if I needed to rely on him to score points. So I'd like to take him as a second guy, maybe even on a team like this with Travis Kelce. I'll see who's available later. Jaleel McLaughlin is going to fall. He had a fine preseason game, though. The thing that I've said is I think if Javonte goes down or is just not good, Estime gets the bulk of the work, but Jaleel will have the same role, basically, no matter who else is starting or playing. Jermaine Burton at pick 164. I'm pretty low on the Bengals offense overall. I only have 3% to 8% McMillan, though. This isn't like a spot that I have a huge stand. I probably would have taken Hunter Henry, actually, if I saw that I had full playoff correlation, 8 games of 8 game stacks with my team, then just be done at tight end. If he's still there in 8 picks, I'll grab him. If not, I know who else I'm taking. Like Isaiah Likely could be an option for this team. It sounds like he's going to get more work than he did previously anyway, even if Mark Andrews is playing. And thinking about like Travis Kelce's week 6 bye, even if Isaiah Likely doesn't play that week, I don't think I'm giving up too much. I'm not sure if these are the type of teams I should be taking Likely on. It feels better if I take him on teams where my other tight ends are like Kate Otten, Jonnu Smith, where it's like, all right, we have guys who are probably going to score points every game. Let's get a guy who can put up a ceiling Likely. But does that matter? I already have Travis Kelce. I already bet on him to be the tight end 1. Hopefully I can just get Hunter Henry. It doesn't matter. Otherwise, I'm probably not going to take unstacked Lamar. Yeah, I'll probably take Likely just because Lamar's unstacked. Speaking of Jermaine Burton, Andre Yoshivas played 12 of 13 snaps with Joe Burrow, while Jermaine Burton played into the 4th quarter with the 3rd string offense. Got a touchdown. Yoshivas has been the starter in training camp. I mean, I don't think that's unexpected. Yeah, Jermaine Burton, good catch against man coverage, 37-yard stutter and go touchdown, and a 38-yard stutter and go back shoulder reception in traffic. There's simply no way he's not the number 4 receiver as soon as next week. He's just too good. So, yeah, we're definitely taking him over We're not taking Yoshivas over him. I was going to consider Khalil Herbert, but I guess that guy made my decision easy. We'll just take Likely, be done at tight end. We're done at quarterback, so I'm going to grab one more running back. I got 3 starters in Algier and possibly a 4th starter in Dobbins. I just want to grab someone like maybe I'll grab a Stime or I like Justice Hill. Guess I have 0 and Underdog. I've been taking him in the last rounds of a bunch of slow drafts on the other sites, though. Braylon Allen, clear RB2 for the Jets. Yep. I think he should probably be one of the priorities this late as he goes off the board. Tyrone Tracy was ahead of Eric Gray, behind Devin Singletary to be the backup running back on the Giants. Devin Singletary didn't play. But Tracy had a few nice runs on top of getting the depth chart win. That said, Eric Gray did shake off a safety during his long touchdown run. Bucky Irving showcased nice vision with the second team offense, presumably ahead of Chase Edmonds. I sure hope so because I have a ton of Bucky Irving, especially with that report about the offensive line, the center being better than their previous center. Dameon Pierce played all the snaps with the Texans' first team offense. Joe Mixon is dealing with a hamstring right now. Where is he going in drafts? Maybe I can take him in this draft. Who's my other Houston guy? So I already have Nico. This is earlier I said I didn't want to double tap Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta, but like this is completely different. We're getting this guy for free. He was bad last year, right? I faded him pretty hard in the dead zone last year after taking him like in the 17th round the previous year. Not that much though, but if he's going to be the guy with Mixon out, I mean, Houston was already a powerhouse offense last year, but they had Singletary. If they don't have another option to, I mean, who was it? Jahar Jordan? Is that the other guy in Houston? I don't think I'm clicking this guy yet. Leading rusher Friday. I mean, 6 carries for 22 yards. Ooh, don't care. Might take Pierce in this one. We'll see what happens. Do have some week 17 correlation with Estime, who's my Cincinnati player. Burton and Estime. J.K. Dobbins Estime. It's not like huge. I'd rather, I mean, here's the thing though, like we're drafting Dameon Pierce. He's great playoff correlation. What are the chances he's the starter in these weeks? Like it's probably slightly higher now that Joe Mixon's already dealing with an injury. But if Dameon Pierce is on the bench, it's kind of a disaster. And then with Estime, I mean, it's kind of the same situation, but at least we know that Damian Pierce sucked last year. Like, we don't know that Audric Estime sucks. So, forgot about that fumble. Wouldn't have drafted him if I remembered that he had a fumble in preseason. Disaster. Let's go down the list. Clyde Edwards-Helaire played on the second drive with the second team offense. That was it. Deneric Prince played the rest of the half with the third string offense. Prince has been ahead of CEH in training camp, but the coaches might just be giving him a shot to see what he did. So whoever wrote this Underdog article is still going to go with CEH until Prince flips him in preseason. I think that's probably a pretty strong take to apply to a lot of these guys. Like, if the coaching staff is telling us they like someone, they are the most reliable, probably. And I don't mean like saying it out loud. I mean telling us they like him by having him higher on the depth chart than another guy, or working with the first team offense, things like that. Tank Bigsby was a clear running back 2 for the Jaguars. 3 nice plays. He broke a couple tackles. Playing with the second string offense. Man. The thing is, we kind of meme this dude. Like, if one of these running backs didn't work out, we got Bigsby. And so it's going to be tough to climb back on that train. He's free, completely free. Probably still the backup behind ETN. There's worse punts for sure. All right, I know I have a receiver here. I'm at 6. I'm going to take 2 more receivers. I think, right? That's it. 2 more receivers. I could go Roman Wilson here. It's pretty good playoff correlations. Gets me that Pittsburgh correlation for Lamar. I've mentioned this before. Like, I definitely want week 17 correlation with other players on my team, but make sure you get it for your quarterbacks first and foremost. So let's see. Oh man, these are some really not great week 17 playoff stacks, right? Like, this is awesome. Baltimore at Houston, but my secondary stacks, Denver at Cincinnati, KC at Pitt. It's not it. I mean, it could be it by then, but right now it's not. Week 16, Pitt, Baltimore, still not great. Algier, Malik Neighbors. If Algier's starting by then, this is going to be awesome. Dobbins, Estime. It's nothing. Houston, KC. This is a pretty great one. Help me get to the finals here. Week 15, Lamar and Malik Neighbors. Beautiful. Goff, Amon-Ra, Shakir. Okay. Raheem, Nico Collins. Possibly beautiful. And Pollard, Burton. Yeah. I mean, there's potential here, so let's see if we can get one more piece of correlation. Like, if I didn't have Likely, I might just go for Devontae Walker here. Especially, like, I didn't do this on purpose, but having 10 game stacks with my Lamar Jackson, like, that is so, it's so good for advancing. That's not what I wanted. Player schedule, Lamar. Nope. Like, this is pretty great stacks all season long. Wonder what I have with not as much with Amon-Ra, but still, still good. 6 game stacks throughout the season isn't bad. So probably about a minute till I'm on the clock. If anyone in the chat wants to throw out their favorite 18th round receiver for me to consider drafting right now, please do. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to take KJ Osborne. Full playoff correlation. I took some young players, some questionable players. This helps me get a floor. KJ Osborne might have a ceiling. Only at 2% here. I have more of him on the other stuff, so I'm happy to add a little bit. Other guys that I take a ton, Noah Brown. So I have a Houston guy on like more than half my teams, and so a lot of the times Noah Brown is the second Houston guy, but I still don't mind it because like the contingent upside has got to be higher than anyone else on this list right now. And I say that because we saw Noah Brown put up 20 at least twice last year. And I think he got close a third time, but it's just, if anything happens to Stephon Diggs or Tank Dell or Nico Collins, I'm pretty sure Nico and Tank both missed time last year. That's why Noah Brown was able to go off. But Noah Brown's value is probably going to be pretty low if those guys all stay healthy. But And I hate to make it like, because I hate seeing players get injured, but we have 3 outs to Noah Brown getting on the field. So love that Noah Brown round 18 pick. Appreciate you guys watching. Apologize that Brian wasn't able to join me. I will have him on later this week. We actually basically finished all the players that were looking great. We didn't get to the players that were looking bad, but that's good because that saves some talk from me and Chris and Brian. Maybe Moose will jump on with me one of these days, Derek. And yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for subbing and liking on our new channel. If you haven't signed up for Underdog yet, sign up using the promo code Occupy2, and they'll match your deposit up $250. Gives you 10 free BBMs, or if you want to play around with some of the other contests they have to offer, then you can do that too. And they do have a golden but Superflex. It's a single entry fast draft, so only $10. If you're drafting Superflex, just punt quarterback, honestly. But if you have any more questions about that, I will be in the Discord. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.